dear student, how are you? I hope all are you good. So today let me read the SST chapter number 4, consolidation and expansion of British rule. यानी कि जो ब्रिटिश सरकार, ब्रिटिश शासन था, वो उसका कैसे उसको सुदृढ़ीकरण यानी कि कैसे उसको शक्ति मिली या बढ़ने की, और कैसे वो विस्तार हुआ उसका, कैसे वो बढ़ा। आइए पढ़ते हैं। Establishment of British paramountcy and civil administration. Establishment यानी कि उस कैसे उन्हें सुदृढ़, मतलब यहाँ ब्रिटिश सरकार को, अंग्रेजी को कैसे पैर पसारने की यहाँ पे शक्ति मिली। So since the formation of the English East India Company, there was a constant hustle between the company and the British Parliament. ठीक है, उनके बीच में कन्फ्लिक्ट होते रहे। The company was eager to have a permanent establishment, but Parliament was not willing to relinquish the opportunity to exploit the company's profits by allowing it greater autonomy. The East India Company became the single largest British player in the global market. तो जो ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी थी वो एक सिंगल ऐसी कंपनी थी पूरे ग्लोबल मार्केट में जो बहुत ही मतलब बहुत बड़े पैमाने पे काम कर रही थी। इन 1773 द कंपनी assumed the monopoly of opium trade in Bengal. Till then, the administration of the British occupied Indian territories were entirely in the hands of the company. The British Parliament realized that the company's interests in India were no longer merely commercial and that it had assumed the character of a political and territorial power. To restrict the growing influence of the company and illegal activities of its officials, the British Parliament promulgated the Regulating Act in 1773. According to the Act, अब उस Act के according क्या क्या होता था? Warren Hastings became the first Governor General of Bengal. ठीक है, कौन? वारन हेस्टिंग्स। तो वो पहले जनरल गवर्नर बने उसके बंगाल के। मेजर चेंजेस वर इंट्रोड्यूस्ड इन द कंपनीज एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव स्ट्रक्चर बोथ इन इंग्लैंड एंड इन इंडिया। द कंपनी हैड टू सबमिट टू क्लोज सुपरविजन बाय द ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट and to periodical inquiries by the British Parliament. Now the governors of the company's commercial settlements became governors of provinces. Although the East India Company continued to trade, many of its officials became administrator in the new British revenues. Hughes Army was created to defend the company's territories. Okay, so to course neighboring Indian states and to crush any potential internal resistance, Warren Hastings abolished the dual system. उसने क्या किया? ये ड्यूल सिस्टम जो है, दोहरीकरण जो है, उसको कर दी, वो हटा दिया। Introduced by Robert Clive, but in the meantime, the Maratha emerged as a formidable power in the north. Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan, the legendary rulers of Mysore, also gave a tough time to the British forces. Having sided with the French during the war, the rulers of Mysore continued their struggle against the company with 4 Anglo-Mysore War. Annexation of Mysore. Mysore had maintained its independence ever since the end of the Vijayanagar Empire. Later on, it accepted the authority of the Mughals. At the time of Nadir Shah's invasion, Mysore tried to assert its independence during 18th century. The king of Mysore, Chikka Krishnaraj, was a puppet in the hand of his 2 ministers. तो जो वहाँ का वो था ना, राजा मैसूर का चिक्का कृष्णराज, वो क्या बन गया था? उनके हाथ की कठपुतली बन गया था। ड्यूरिंग द लेटर पार्ट ऑफ हिज रूल, तो इस शासन के हिस्से के बाद हैदर अली एन आइकॉनिक पर्सनालिटी, हैदर अली एक आइकॉनिक पर्सनालिटी बन गया था। रोज टू प्रोमिनेंस फ्रॉम द रैंक्स ऑफ एन आर्मी कैप्टन। द मराठास, द ब्रिटिश एंड द निजाम ऑफ हैदराबाद वर जेलस ऑफ हैदर अलीज ग्रोइंग power. So the British made an alliance with the Marathas and the Nizam of Hyderabad to crush the power of Hyder Ali. अब जो ब्रिटिश सरकार थी उसने क्या किया, मराठा निजाम और हैदराबाद टू क्रश टू पावर ऑफ हैदर अली, उनसे अलायंस बनाने शुरू कर दिए मराठा से, और किसको वो करने के लिए ओवर पावर, हैदर अली को. A series of wars was fought between Mysore and the company over a span of 32 years. India between 1772. अब 1772 से लेके 1785 तक जो है हमारा भारत कैसा था, आइए जानते हैं. During 1772 to 1785, the territory of East India Company included Bengal, Bihar, Odisha, and Banaras. It also included the northern Sarkars, the port of Salsette, and the harbors of Madras, Bombay, and other minor ports. The Mughal territory included Delhi and other surrounding areas. The autonomous territory of Awadh was bound in an offensive defensive alliance with the East India Company since 1765. The northwestern part of India was under the Sikh clans who controlled the region around the Satluj. Northwestern Punjab, Multan, Sindh, and Kashmir were under the rule of Muslim chief. Okay, so the Marathas dominated western India, parts of central India from Delhi to Hyderabad, and the land from Gujarat to Cuttack. The Nizam of Hyderabad rules the Deccan. Hyder Ali ruled over Mysore, Tanjore, and Travancore were also under Hindu rulers. First Anglo-Mysore War. अब पहला जो है एंग्लो मैसूर का युद्ध 1767 से 1769. हैदर अली वाज ए ब्रेव एंड डिप्लोमेटिक रूलर, बहुत ही जो है बहादुर और डिप्लोमेटिक शासक था वो. इन 1767 when the alliance force waged war against him, he decided to beat the British, making peace with the Marathas and alluring the Nizam with territorial gains, and together with the Nizam attacked Orkod. अब उसने सोचा कि अगर शांति बनाए रखनी है तो जो ब्रिटिश सरकार को हमें सबक सिखाना पड़ेगा. So his son Tipu Sultan beside Madras. The fight continued for a year and a half, and the British suffered heavy losses. तो ये जो लड़ाई है ये कम से कम 1.5 years यानी कि 1.5 साल चली, और ब्रिटिश सरकार का जो है इसमें बहुत नुकसान हुआ. The British appealed for peace. तो ब्रिटिश जो है शांति के लिए अपील करने लगे. The treaty was signed in 1769 in Madras, and both the parties agreed to return the areas won by each other. Hyder Ali extracted a promise from the British to come to his aid if he was attacked by the Marathas or a third party. The kingdom of Mysore gained large tracts of land to the north after this war. Next one is second Anglo-Mysore War. अब ये दूसरे युद्ध के बारे में यहाँ पे बात हो रही है. So in 1771, during the war against the Marathas, Hyder Ali tested the loyalty of the British. अब जब दूसरा जो है मराठाओं के विरुद्ध युद्ध हुआ तो जो कौन हैदर अली जो है ब्रिटिश सरकार को परखना चाहता था. बट नाउ हैदर अली डिसाइडेड टू टेक रिवेंज अगेंस्ट देम. लेकिन अब वो डिसाइड कर चुका था कि मुझे इनसे बदला लेना है. ही गॉट द अपॉर्चुनिटी व्हेन एट द ग्लोबल लेवल द एंग्लो फ्रेंच वॉर started in 1778, and the British resolved to drive the French out of India. So they captured Mahe French fort on the western coast in 1779, which due to its proximity to Mysore infuriated Hyder Ali. He attacked Carnatic and reached Kanjivaram only 45 miles. So from Madras unopposed. The incapacity of the British soldiers and officers resulted in the total destruction of the British force in September 1780. But Hyder Ali fell ill and died in 1782. वो बहुत बीमार हो गया था, उसकी मृत्यु 1782 में हो गई थी. His son टीपू सुल्तान continued the war. अब जो उसका बेटा था टीपू सुल्तान, उसने इस युद्ध को जारी रखा, है ना. It was brought to an end by the Treaty of Mangalore. The governor of Madras offered peace and signed the Treaty of Mangalore in 1784. According to it, the two parties exchanged their territories and prisoners of war. The treaty is an important document in the history of India. It was the last occasion when an Indian power dictated terms to the British war. Hastings called it a humiliating pacification. The credit for his treaty goes to Tipu Sultan. The British did not reconcile themselves to this humiliation and worked hard thereafter to subvert Tipu's power. Third Anglo-Mysore War, 1789 to 1792. Lord Cornwallis was the government general during the Third Anglo-Mysore War. He was instructed to refrain from wars and to follow policy of non-intervention by the British government, but Tipu Sultan was keen on extending his territories by aggression. So, in 1789, Tipu Sultan attacked Travancore, an ally of the British. The British formed a triple alliance with the Nizam and the Marathas. The war lasted for 2 years, but British Major General Meadows could not suppress Tipu Sultan. In 1791, Cornwallis himself took over the command of the British troops. Okay, so he captured Bangalore and approached Seringapatam. In the beginning, Tipu defended his capital well. तो जब शुरुआत हुई ना, तो टीपू सुल्तान जो है अपनी राजधानी को बहुत अच्छे से डिफेंड कर रहा था and forced Cornwallis to retreat. But in February 1792, ठीक है, 1792 में the war culminated in a resounding defeat for Mysore. Tipu was forced to sign the humiliating Treaty of Seringapatam in March 1792. This time, the British dictate their terms. Tipu Sultan had to surrender nearly half of Mysore territories to the victorious allies, the Nizam, British and Marathas, and pay a huge war indemnity. Okay, so while his two sons were taken hostage. Policy of non-intervention. After the American War of Independence, the British government was severely criticized for the policies of East India Company. In order to recast their policies and to consolidate their position in the British occupied territories, the British Parliament passed an act. तो British Parliament ने जो है एक act pass किया which outlined a system of governing the territories. It introduced the policy of non-intervention, who forbade interference in the internal matters of the country, to distance themselves from disputes between Indian rulers and to refrain from war. So, Fourth Mysore War. अब यहाँ पे चौथा मैसूर का युद्ध छिड़ा. Lord Wellesley became Governor General in 1798. He introduced the system of subsidiary alliances, under which the native state was expected to acknowledge the British authority and function entirely on British terms. Tipu Sultan refused to do so and tried to get external help out to the British. He built up a large army and asked the French to support him. Wellesley attacked Mysore in 1799. Tipu fought bravely and was killed in action against the British at Seringapatam. The Fourth War of short duration ended with the death of Tipu Sultan of 4 मई 1799. तो मैसूर युद्ध का अंत कब हुआ? जो है जब टीपू सुल्तान की मृत्यु हो गई. आफ्टर टीपू सुल्तान डेथ, उसकी मृत्यु के बाद Mysore was restored to the dependent of the former ruler who had been overthrown by Hyder Ali. The new ruler accepted our subsidiary alliances. The Nizam of Hyderabad was the first Indian ruler to accept the system of subsidiary alliances. Subsidiary alliances and the growth of colonial army. So, subsidiary alliance was introduced by Lord Wellesley to secure British supremacy in India. The system was practically forced on a ruler who was faced constant threat from other states. तो उसको क्या होता, बार बार जो है अदर स्टेट से थ्रेट्स मिल रही थी, धमकियां मिल रही थी. According to this alliance, the Indian rulers were not supposed to keep their independent armed force as they were protected by the company. मतलब according to his alliance, this alliance जो है इंडियन जो शासक थे उनको अपनी इंडिपेंडेंट आर्मी रखने का कोई अधिकार ही नहीं था. However, they had to pay for the armed forces. Part of a territory was taken away as penalty if the ruler failed to pay. The Indian ruler was also to keep a British resident in the court, who in turn interfered with the internal administration of the state if it was against the company's interest. So the Indian states lost their independence. The states which came under British control through these alliances were Awadh, Hyderabad, Gwalior, Indore, Udaipur, Jodhpur and Jaipur. The subsidiary alliance system had a demoralizing effect on Indian rulers. By accepting this system, they had effectively accepted the supremacy of the British. On the other hand, this system proved advantageous for the British, who made huge territorial gains. Also, they were now able to maintain large armies at the cost of the Indian rule. This whole process had the development of colonial armies, which made the British even more powerful than before. Annexation of the Maratha state. अब मराठा स्टेट पर जो है क्या कब्जा होना. आफ्टर द कंट्रोल ऑफ कर्नाटक एंड डेक्कन रीगन्स, लॉर्ड वेल्सले turned his attention to the Marathas. अब उसने क्या किया, कर्नाटक और डेक्कन पे कब्जा करने के बाद अब उसका ध्यान किधर गया, मराठास पे. The Marathas had emerged a possible alternative to the Mughals, but this resurgence was short-lived for Maratha chiefs. Gaikwad of Baroda, Bhosle of Nagpur, Sindhia of Gwalior and Holkars of Indore declared their independence. So the British took advantage of the internal conflicts with the Marathas clans. After 43 years and their 3 wars, they ultimately managed to bring the Marathas under their control. ठीक है ना. अब क्या हुआ, 30 years and 3 wars, 30 साल और 3 युद्ध के बाद उन्होंने क्या किया, फिर ब्रिटिश सरकार ने जो है मराठास को अपने कंट्रोल में, अपने कब्जे में एट द एंड ले ही लिया. द फर्स्ट एंग्लो मराठा वार, पेशवा माधव राव died in 1772. Okay, so and be succeeded by his brother Narayan Rao. He was killed by his uncle Raghunath Rao, who then declared himself Peshwa. The British also supported his claim, but the Marathas backed Narayan Rao's son Madhav Rao too. A civil war broke out. The Marathas, led by Nana Fadnavis, a great Maratha minister, fought against Raghunath Rao and his British allies and defeated them in 1779. The British were forced to sign the Treaty of Vadagan, by which they had to surrender all the territories acquired by the company since 1773. Warren Hastings, the Governor General, attempt to restore the Treaty of Salbei restore the prestige of the company and send a rogue force which captured Surat in 1779 and Gwalior in 1780. The Treaty of Salbei brought an end to the war. The treaties resulted in a relative peace between the Marathas and the company until outbreak of the Second Anglo-Maratha War. So, let's talk about the Second Anglo-Maratha War. पेशवा माधवराव II died in 1796. जो पेशवा माधवराव थे वो 1796 में मारे गए and was succeeded by बाजीराव II. Maharaja Sindhia and Nana Fadnavis were the capable leaders who tried to keep intact the Maratha power in spite of their conflict. तो सबसे कौन थे, मजबूत नेता थे, है ना. So after their death, the Maratha chiefs tried to bring the Peshwa under their influence. Amongst them, the most powerful were Daulat Rao Sindhia of Gwalior and Jaswant Rao Holkar of Indore. In 1801 to 1802, Sindhia joined Peshwa Bajirao against Holkar, and a war was fought between the two for supremacy over the Peshwa. Jaswant Rao Holkar defeated the combined forces in 1802. Peshwa Bajirao II fled to Basin and sought the help of the British. a treaty was signed in 1803 with the British, which allowed them a legitimate right to interfere in the affairs of the Marathas. So the British force occupied Pune, the capital of Peshwa. The British installed the Peshwa at Pune and drove out to the Holkars. Lord Wolseley, the Governor General of India, now decided to bring the Marathas under the subsidiary system. The Gaikwad were the first to sign the subsidiary treaty with the British. Okay, Scindia was forced to sign a treaty by which he ceded the Ganga Jamuna Doab, Ahmednagar and Broch. Bhosle accepted the overlordship of the British and gave up claims on Cuttack, Balasore and part of the central provinces. This war dealt several blows to the power and prestige of Marathas. Holkar sought refuge in the court of Maharaja Ranjit Singh, the Sikh ruler of Punjab. In the meantime, Lord Wellesley was recalled to England. His policy of wars and expansion was proving very expensive to the British government. The next Governor General was George Barlow. He made peace with Holkar and signed a treaty in 1806 by which his terrorists were restored to him. Similarly, the British revised the treaties made with Mosley and Scindia and returned their territories. The British once again reverted to the policy of non-intervention. The Third Anglo-Maratha War. The last Maratha was fought during the period when Lord Hastings was the Governor General. तो ये किसके अंडर में हुआ? जब लॉर्ड हास्टिंग जो है गवर्नर जनरल थे. पेशवा बाजीराव II released the mistake of making the Treaty of Basin with the British. He felt suffocated and to free himself, so he decided to wage a war against the British. अब जो वो थे ना, क्या नाम था, पेशवा बाजीराव II, उन्हें अपनी गलती का एहसास हुआ और वो ब्रिटिश के अंडर कंट्रोल में आके ना अपने आप को बहुत घुटन महसूस कर रहे थे कि मैं किसी के अंडर में, किसी के कंट्रोल में रह के कैसे काम कर सकता हूँ. उन्होंने क्या किया, उनके ब्रिटिश के खिलाफ जो है युद्ध छेड़ दिया. ओके, एंड हास्टिंग came to know about this plan and forced the Peshwa to sign the Treaty of Pune, by which the Peshwa had to renounce the leadership of Maratha chief and had to surrender Konkan to the British. Similarly, Scindia was forced to sign a treaty at Gwalior 1870 to help the British against the Pindaris. Mosley had already signed a treaty in 1816. Despite these treaties, the Marathas' chief were determined to make a last attempt to regain their independence under Peshwa Bajirao II. They declared war against the British, then attacked and burned the residency at Kirki near Pune. But finally, they were defeated in this third and last war against the British. The British deposed the Peshwa and annexed all his territories. The Peshwa was deported to Bihur and Bithur and near Kanpur. Bhosle and Holkar also surrendered and accepted the subsidiary alliances. अब दोनों ने भी surrender कर दिया था. So the Maratha power in India was shattered forever and the British emerged as the supreme power in India. अब यहाँ पे क्या हुआ, मराठा जो है वो हार गए और ब्रिटिश पावर जो है और ज्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग हो गई. Pindaris. The term Pindari refers to loose bands led by chieftains that flourished in central India in the late 18th and 19th centuries, not confined to any one race, tribe or religion. They emerged after the break up of the Mughal armies. So, when the British acquired the region of central India, they had to confront the Pindari men. Lord Hastings launched a combing operation against the Pindaris and was successful in eliminating them. He also made one of the Pindari chief the Nawab of a small Rajputana principality called Tong. Important development before the Third Anglo-Maratha War. Okay, some important developments had taken place before the Third Maratha War in 1817. Java and Sumatra were occupied by the British to safeguard the British territories. Singapore War also conquered, which strengthened the British position in Malaya. So these conquests helped to establish Britain's naval supremacy in the region. The British also tried to extend their influence in Afghanistan, Iran, and the northwestern region of India. They succeeded in expanding their control up to the river Satluj. Their expansion restricted the movement of Sikh ruler Ranjit Singh to east of that river. In the same year, 1809, the Treaty of Amritsar was made between the British and the Sikh ruler Ranjit Singh that guaranteed the neutrality of the Sikhs. So, Lord Hastings consolidated and strengthened the position of the company. He conquered Nepal and pressurized various Rajput chiefs to sign subsidiary alliances. तो वो क्या था, जबरदस्ती अलायंस बनाने वाली बात थी, तो वो उनको जो है क्या कर रहा था, उनको प्रेशराइज कर रहा था साइन करने के लिए. Thus, by the time the Third Maratha War started, 1817, the British had almost established themselves as the supreme political in India. Annexation of Punjab. अब पंजाब पर कब्जा करना, अब थी पंजाब की बारी. महाराजा रंजीत सिंह, known as the Lion of Punjab, तो जो महाराजा रंजीत सिंह थे उनको पंजाब का शेर कहा जाता था, was the founder of an independent Sikh kingdom in Punjab. He emerged as dynamic Sikh leader. वो जो है एक बहुत ही डायनामिक पर्सनालिटी थी. He made Lahore his capital, and by 1823 he extended his kingdom from the Satluj to Peshawar and from Kashmir up to the borders of Sindh. So he was a brave soldier and able to statesman and a tolerant ruler. He ruled for over 40 years. तो उन्होंने 40 साल तक यहाँ पर शासन किया. The first Anglo-Sikh War. Okay, so after the death of Maharaja Ranjit Singh, the Sikh state witnessed a period of political instability as there were many claimants to the throne. In 1843, Dalit Singh, the younger son of Ranjit Singh, became the ruler under the protection of his mother. तो उनके बाद कौन था, उनका जो बड़ा बेटा था रंजीत सिंह, अपनी मम्मी मतलब अपनी माता के उसमें प्रोटेक्शन में वो शासक बना, रानी जिंदल. But real power remained with the army which Ranjit Singh had organized along European lines. The British were never great friends of the Sikhs, and the first Anglo-Sikh battle started when the Sikh army crossed the Satluj. Battles were fought at Mudki, Giroh, Shah and Sabrao, in which the British got victory for the next 2 years. The Punjab was a British protectorate. The British army occupied Lahore. ठीक है, उन्होंने क्या किया, उस पर कब्जा कर लिया. The Sikh army was reduced in size and the Sikhs had to pay for the maintenance of the British army. Dalit Singh was recognized as the ruler of Lahore. Besides paying a heavy war indemnity, they were forced to hand over Kashmir to the British, who sold it to Raja Gulab Singh Dogra of Jammu for 10 lakh dinar. Okay, so the second Anglo-Sikh War 1848 to 1849, the Lahore Treaty was humiliating for the Sikh. The second Sikh War was triggered by a revolt of the Sikh chief Diwan Mul Raj, the governor of Multan, in April 1848. Instead of suppressing the revolt, Lord Dalhousie declared war against the Sikh in October 1848. Battles were fought at Ramnagar, Chilanwala and Gujarat. The decisive battle was fought at Gujarat on February 13, 1849, in which the Sikhs were completely defeated. So, Lord Dalhousie annexed the Punjab to the British Empire. It was during this time that the famous Kohinoor was taken away and presented to Queen Victoria. अब उसमें सेकेंड एंग्लो सिख वार में क्या हुआ, जो है लॉर्ड डलहौजी ने जो है पंजाब पर कब्जा कर लिया और वहां उस समय पे जो कोहिनूर हीरा था, किसने उन्होंने हड़प लिया और किसको सौंप दिया, क्वीन विक्टोरिया को. महाराजा रंजीत सिंह. महाराजा रंजीत सिंह was the founder of a great six state, है ना. तो ये फाउंडर थे सिक्स स्टेट के. एज अ चाइल्ड रंजीत सिंह हैड एन अटैक ऑफ स्मॉल पॉक्स एंड लॉस्ट वन आई परमानेंटली. ठीक है, उन्होंने क्या किया, उनको एक बीमारी हुई थी बचपन में जिससे उन्होंने अपनी एक आंख को खो दिया था. Though not handsome in appearance, he had a magnetic personality. Once his foreign minister Fakir Izzuddin was asked by Lord Auckland which of the Maharaja's eyes was missing. He replied, "The Maharaja is like the sun." है ना, जो महाराजा है वो सूरज की तरह है. Who was only one eye? The splendors and the luminosity of his single eye is so much that I have never dared to look at the other eye. Lord Auckland, pleased with the reply, gifted his wristwatch to Azizuddin. Lord Dalhousie and his policies for expansion. अब लॉर्ड डलहौजी का राज और उसकी जो है कहाँ उसने वो किया कब्जा. लॉर्ड डलहौजी was the Governor General of India from 1848 to 1856. He believed in direct British administration of region or province rather than by proxy. So, by supporting the Indian rulers, he annexed a large number of native states to the British Empire and introduced many useful reforms. He is therefore called the maker of modern India. अब वो क्या कहा जाता है उसको? आधुनिक भारत का जनक कहा जाता है. Lord Dalhousie's policy of annexation was known as the doctrine of lapse. Governor General Lord Dalhousie introduced it as it is a means of extending their empire. According to this policy, if any ruler did not have a natural heir to the throne, he had to take permission from the British to adopt a heir. Okay, the territory of the ruler without a male heir was annexed. If the adaptation was refused, and the British had the right to sanction of refuse such an adaptation. Jhansi, Nagpur, Satara, Udaipur, Jaipur and Sambhalpur were annexed under this policy. है ना, तो ये सब जगह जो है इसके कब्जे इस पॉलिसी के अंदर आ गई. So another method of annexation used by Lord Dalhousie was abolition of titles and pensions of childless rulers upon their death. Their territories were there annexed. So thus Arcot and Tanjore, Arcot Mandir और Tanjore का were annexed to the British Empire. The adopted son of the Peshwa, Nana Sahib, was refused the pension by the British. Similarly, after the death of the Nawab of Carnatic, the British did not pay pension to his relative. तो क्या होता था, उन पेंशन जो है उनके रिश्तेदारों को नहीं दी जाती. ये पेंशन इसने ही शुरू कराई थी. The imperial title of the Mughal emperor was discontinued after Bahadur Shah II. Maladministration of states by Indian rulers was another excuse for subjugation. The Nawabs of Awadh had become totally dependent on the British government. They neglected their administration and the welfare of their subjects. Dalhousie annexed Awadh in 1856. Under their policy, he also captured a portion of Sikkim in 1850 because its ruler had ill-treated the company's men. So, thus Dalhousie annexed different regions of India to expand the British Empire, but they also introduced many useful reforms. Now, what is reforms? Lord Dalhousie introduced various reforms during his rule to improve the condition of India. He proved his worth in matters of administration by the demarcation of various departments of the administrative machinery and appointment of lieutenant governor for Bengal. He introduced the non-regulation system where a chief commissioner was appointed in non-regulation province. Punjab and Awadh were non-regulation provinces. They were directly under the control of the Governor General through commissioner. So, during his time, railways and telegraph were introduced in India to improve the means of communication. improve the mass of communication. क्या क्या? दो चीजें, रेलवे और टेलीग्राफ. He began building many public utility structures and started the public works department, which undertook the work of constructing roads, bridges, and irrigation works such as canals, etc. The extension of the Grand Trunk Road from Peshawar to Calcutta was started during his tenure. Okay, so old canals were repaired and the new Ganga Canal was constructed for irrigation purpose. In the educational field, Dalhousie gave the recommendations to the Woods Dispatch for improving the education system in India. Other administrative policies and reformers. Warren Hastings was appointed the governor of Bengal in 1772. 2 years later, he was made the Governor General of Bengal. He could not expand the positions of the company in India. However, he stopped the pension of Emperor Shah Alam and reduced the pension of the Nawab of Bengal from 32 lakh to 16 lakh rupees per year. Lord Cornwallis became the Governor General of Bengal in 1786. He introduced the system of permanent settlement of revenue in Bengal. In 1793, according to this system, zamindars were given the permanent right to collect taxes from the peasants. It assured the company of a fixed income from land revenue every year, but it gave birth to a class of absentee landlords. Cornwallis also introduced judicial and police reform. He set his own example of honesty and created a spirit of honesty among the company servant. He developed a Europeanist state within the framework of India tradition. His reorganization of the entire system of administration marked the beginning of the civil services in India. Sir John Shore was appointed the Governor General in 1793. He followed a policy of peace and non-intervention. Lord Wellesley was Governor General of Bengal from 1798 to 1805. He wanted to make the British masters of India. He followed 3 methods to achieve his aims. Number 1, the system of subsidiary alliances. Number 2, expansion through wars. Number 3, annexing the territories of previously subordinated rules. After Lord Wellesley, Sir George Barlow 1805 to 1807 and Lord Minto 1807 to 1813 were the next Governor Generals, but they preferred the policy of non-invention and succeeded in avoiding any major war in India. So, Lord Hastings was the Governor General of Bengal from 1813. He waged the war against Nepal and expanded the British Empire. अब उसने क्या किया जो है नेपाल के वॉर अगेंस्ट नेपाल और उसने ब्रिटिश शासन को जो है फैला दिया बहुत अच्छे से. Lord Amherst was the Governor General of Bengal from 1823 to 1828. Burma was annexed during his time. By about 1856, the British conquest of India was complete and the British Empire was firmly established in India. While consolidating their power in India, the British were also able to establish a large colonial army, that too at the expense of the Indian rules. British administration India. In the beginning, the administration of the British territories was entirely in the hands of the company, but gradually the company was brought under the control of the Crown. The process began with the Regulating Act in 1773. So, and culminated in 1858 when the company's power was handed over to the British government. The company was closed in 1858. Regulating Act. So, what is Regulating Act? As a result of the Battle of Plassey and Buxar, तो प्लासी और बक्सर का जो युद्ध हुआ, जो उसका परिणाम निकला, उसके अनुसार the British became the masters of Bengal, Bihar and Odisha. but the act reduced the power of the company. अब जब ये एक्ट लागू हुआ ना, रेगुलेटिंग एक्ट, इसके अकॉर्डिंग जो है उनकी पावर कम हो गई. The Government General of Bengal was made the Governor General of all terrorists in India. He was helped by a 4-member council which was formed to assist him. The act proposed to set up a Supreme Court at Calcutta in order to check the corrupt practices of the company officials. All officials were asked to surrender details of their properties and they were asked to place all documents to civil, military and revenue affairs to the company before the British government. However, the act failed because the powers of Governor General and the council was not clearly mentioned. Hence, it led to frequent dispute between them. So, the Supreme Court did not know whether it had to follow the British or Indian laws. The Governor of Bombay and Madras did not accept the control of Governor General. PITTS India Act. What is that? Pitt. William Pitt, the Prime Minister of Britain, introduced the Pitt's Act in 1784. Order to overcome the shortcoming of regularly act, a board of control was set up in Britain to control the company's similarity, civil and revenue affairs in India. The board of control was to consist of 6 members appointed by the king. So the Governor General was given the power to overrule his council and have control over Bombay and Madras Presidency. The Governor General was also made the Supreme Commander of the British forces in India. The company had the monopoly over India trade and the right to appoint and dismiss official. Charter Act. Besides Pitt's India Act, a number of charter acts were also passed till 1857. With every such move, the control of British government in India increased. The company's right to trade with India was also based on a royal charter issued in 1600. It was renewed every 20 years. हर 20 साल में क्या होता था, ये renew होता था. So the Charter Act of 1813 abolished the trading activities of the company, but the monopoly of the company in tea and its trade was retained. It also permitted Christian missionaries to settle in India. It allotted an amount from the company's Indian revenues for the encouragement of education, literature and science. For the first time, the company was made responsible for the well-being of the Indian people. The Charter Act 1833 abolished the company monopoly over tea and its trade. है ना, चाय और उसके व्यापार के लिए the company now become a purely administrative body. So, under the British Crown, the Governor of Bengal was made the Governor General of India and empowered him and his council to make law affecting to all persons. Power was the centralized all the hands of the most powerful official of the British government, the Governor General. The Charter Act of 1853 further increased parliamentary control over the company's affairs. The company's authority to recruit its official seized and appointment to all posts was thrown open to competition. The concept of civil service was introduced. A legislative council was constituted to enact law for Indian subjects with the consent of the Government General. Civil service. Lord Cornwallis started the civil service to effectively administer the company's territories in India. He introduced strict regulations for the official race, their salaries, and linked promotions to seniority. Many bright young men got attracted to these civil servants. है ना? Lord Wellesley set up the Fort William College at Calcutta. So 1801. The East India College in England was another institution which trained the young recruits. Till 1853, the civil servants were nominated by the directors of the company. After 1853, civil servants began to be selected through a competitive examination. It was difficult for Indians to get selected. This was because the examination was held in London and very few Indians could afford the cost of travel. है ना, जो एग्जाम होता था वो लंदन में होता था और हर कोई भारतीय उसको अफोर्ड नहीं कर पाता था. The medium of expression was England, which was a foreign language to the Indians, and the maximum age of competing was very low. Next one is army. फिर उन्होंने आर्मी का शुरू किया. The British needed a large army to conquer more territories, protect British territories from their rivals, protect the trading interests of the company, and suppress internal revolts against the British. The army consisted of Indian soldiers. ठीक है, वो भारतीयों की आर्मी बनाना चाहता था, who were called spies. It is the anglicized version of the Hindi word sipahi. Many of them were originally farmers. They were keen to join the company's army as it was considered as a prestigious occupation. Most spies were required from areas at present included in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and Jharkhand. So British officers commanded the spies. अब वो कौन command करते थे? British officer. The highest position held by an Indian was that of सूबेदार. जो सबसे highest post पे होता था उसको सूबेदार बोला जाता था. The British army was a well-trained and disciplined force. The spies were armed with muskets. They were paid a regular salary. The spies were generally loyal to their British masters. However, they could not shed their caste and religion's identity. The British found this out in 1857 when the spies revolted against the company. We will read about it later. हम जो है अब इसके बारे में बाद में पढ़ेंगे. Now next system is police system. Lord Cornwallis formed a regular police force to maintain law and order in the British territories. For effective administration, the district were divided into thanas, each of which was put under the change of daroga. The village policemen became chowkidars. In 1791, the post of superintendent of police was created. Later, the post of a district superintendent was also created. As in the army, only Europeans were eligible for the higher post in the police service. The police was an effective force under the British. It succeeded in reducing major crimes, one of them being thuggy. Judiciary. Before the British Indians followed laws based on local customs and tradition. What in the beginning the British did not interfere with the existing system. They decided the British laws would apply only to the Europeans. However, the existence of two sets of laws created confusion. The Bengal Regulation of 1793 stated that justice should be based on written laws and regulation instead of age-old customs and tradition. So, some of the Indian tradition were written down in the form of laws and regulation. This made law uniform and easier to enforce. Warren Hastings and Lord Cornwallis gave a proper shape to the judicial setup. They set up civil courts, यानी कि दीवानी अदालत, and criminal courts, फौजदारी. दो होती थी, दीवानी और फौजदारी, at the district level. In 1833, a law commission was appointed to codify Indian laws. It compiled the Indian Penal Code, यानी कि IPC, and established the principle of rule of law. It means equality before law of rules of law. It meant equality before law as it professed the ideal of one law for all, यानी कि एक ही नियम का एक ही कानून सबके लिए, यानी कि बराबर है. This, however, was rarely practiced. The Europeans and Indians continued to be tried in separate courts. Land revenue policies of the company. The British introduced different land revenue system on regional basis and on other considerations. These included क्या होता है? These included Jaradri, permanent settlement on Bengal, the Ryotwari system and the Mahalwadi system. All these systems proved to be more useful to big landowners than peasants. Case study, regional focus, Tamil Nadu. अब तमिल नाडु की बात. The Vijayanagar Empire dominated the extreme south for over 2 centuries, from 1350 to 1565. The 16th century witnessed the rise of the Portuguese, followed by the Dutch trading companies. The Portuguese established a fort, South Dome of Santhing, in 1522, pushing back the ancient Pallav port of Mylapore. By 1612, the Dutch established themselves in Pulican to the north. So in 1639, Madras on the eastern coast of India was granted to the East India Company by a local ruler. So the British built a factory there and fortified it. The factory was named Fort St. George. The company expanded its territory following various military conquests. It extended its power to Cuddalore and Vizagapatam. In 1674, the French acquired Valikondapuram from the Sultan of Bijapur and laid the foundation of Puducherry. By 1720, the French lost their factories at Surat and Masulipatam to the British. Okay, so during 1746, the British and the French were at war in America as well as on Indian soil. So the French governor Dupleix avoided any clash with the British, but the British governor at Madras wanted to drive from the French of South India. The French sought the help from their headquarters at Mauritius and defeated them. For St. John was captured by the French, but it so happened that the French naval commander returned Madras for St. Carnatic. He promised the Nawab to give Madras to him if he captured it. Finally, with the help of the Nawab, Dupleix successfully captured Madras but failed to keep her promise. The Treaty of Aix-la-Chapelle was signed in Europe. According to this, the French exchanged Madras for a place in America. वो उससे exchange करना चाहते थे. Okay, thus Madras was returned to the British and ultimately it became Madras Presidency under the British. तो इस तरह से उन्होंने अपना मद्रास पे भी कब्जा कर लिया. So all topics are covered in this chapter very carefully. I hope you all are very well understand this chapter. Thank you.